welcome back. This is part 2 of our reaction to Madness in the Desert.
That was desert.
Oh, I hope there's more sex scenes in this one.
Me too. I'm very disappointed there hasn't been enough nudity and sex like the original film.
Particularly from Aamir Khan.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see full uncut, head over to Patreon. I'll put a link in the description below in the pinned comment. And at the end of this, we'll probably talk about it during it as well because it's a documentary. Yeah, let's just get back into this. Mm-hmm.
Since we were shooting with sync sound, any extraneous noise would hold up the shoot.
Can we hold the helicopter, please?
Remember filming
Since Bhuj was an air base,
background on Black Panther.
During the day, you had these jets taking off.
Crow. Freaking Crow was holding up the shot on top of the
When
building.
you have a plane, you can hear it miles away. And then when it disappears from your sight,
$200 million production being held up by a freaking crow.
you essentially are stopping for a good 20 minutes before and after you've even seen the plane.
They were pretty close to
When
military
the
bases.
jets weren't flying, the wind would sweep through the Kutch Desert, disrupting the shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What have we done in order to cut the wind? We've tried extra pieces of cloth, we've tried extra pieces of foam. We've tried a whole bunch of things before we finally got to where we thought we'd be okay. And just when we did that, the wind would pick up by another 20 kilometers.
Oh my. Oh no. Oh
The
no.
script's requirement
Rain.
was that the sky needed to be cloudless, but while shooting, clouds would emerge and then we had to stop shooting.
We went through crazy elements on this one. Who had visualized that we would be dealing with all kinds of mixed lighting conditions? Overcast skies, repeatedly overcast skies.
Dear Swati, we packed for the day without taking a single shot.
Oh, man.
On set, guys are playing cricket, but the mood is grim. The party is over and reality has caught up. Nature's playing games, ruining precious shooting time. But we are fighting back. Yesterday we shot for 24 hours with 800 villagers who braved the day's heat and then the bitter cold of the night.
Well, the shooting was going well, but it was going very slow. And that was one thing that was really troubling all of us.
Did they change from shots to night shots?
And every day a new schedule is made, and every day a new budget is made, and it keeps changing by the second.
But we were trying our best to go as fast as we possibly could. That I was aware of. Reena, on the other hand, who was in Bombay, was just getting reports of how much behind we were of schedule. She actually flew down to Bhuj and paid us a surprise visit.
I was very serious the whole day. I mean, I didn't smile at anybody, didn't wish anybody, and so they all knew that there was something.
And called for a extraordinary managing committee meeting, if I can call it that, in which all the head of departments were called.
I was really tense, very upset, and very angry with the heads of departments.
And she said, I'm stopping the film.
That it is not acceptable to me, this space. So either they pull up their socks and figure out a way to do it.
I'm not bothered how well you're making the film. The fact is that you're, almost 30% behind schedule.
Oof.
You know, the schedule is going completely wrong, and why we have no control over it. There is absolutely no control over it. And because of that, the budget goes haywire and we have no control over that. And I am answerable to somebody for that.
Yep.
I think they all got pretty scared that I was going to shelve the film, including Aamir, because his face completely fell.
And so meeting broke up on a very low note. And I, of course, was quite impressed actually. by the way Reena handled all of us.
Hot damn.
You know, here's my wife giving it to us. I'm like, wow, she's like really cool. Yeah. Filmmaking. The first film she's doing. And takes the pants of all of us who are experienced film people and tells us that she's pulling out and
I was fighting with Aamir tooth and nail right through the film. That was my job.
That night I took her aside and said, look, Reena, if people are faffing around, then what you're saying is completely true and people have to be pulled up. Here, all of us are working really hard. What perhaps you're not realizing is that we've chosen a script which is very difficult to achieve. There are so many actors Ashu is dealing with. You know, giving positions, so many variables. Because so many actors, there are so many variables. So it's not as if we're not trying. And thereafter, I had the tricky proposition of maintaining a balance between Reena and Ashutosh.
I badgered Ashutosh as much as I badgered Aamir.
You see, what I used to do was I used to protect Reena when I was with Ashu. Okay, Ash, she's right. She's right in what she's saying. We have to pull our socks up. Otherwise, we will not be able to afford to make the film. I mean, halfway through, we'll run out of money, we'll have to just stop. Do you want an unfinished film as a director? What is it? So that pressure I had to maintain on him. At the same time, I used to encourage him and say that, I leave the call to you ultimately. If you feel you need half an hour more, just be aware of what you're doing. But I trust you and I'm supporting you. Make the film the way you want.
Ash, make the film the way you want to make it. This has been his good night line every night.
Films are difficult, man.
They're small miracles.
Mm-hmm. This one's a big miracle.
Yeah.
Zing, 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 zing. Zing, 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 zing. मार दे धक्का मार दे धक्का लगा दे छक्का बजा ले अमरियान रे भैया झूठे लगा
The cricket climax of LAGAAN is due to be shot. A 3-week schedule has been planned. On day 1 of the cricket shoot, Ashutosh wants to take wide shots in which villagers will be seen thronging every corner of the cricket ground. For this one day of shooting, Ashutosh and Aamir have asked us to produce around 10,000 villagers.
What?
I think they've gone mad. 10,000 people don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
We've been roaming through the villages making a fool of ourselves. Shooting for a film just doesn't make sense to the villagers. Aamir thinks that only an insider to Kutch, like Dana Bhai, can crack the problem. And I said to him, Dana Bhai, this is one very important day of our shooting. Of the whole film, probably this is the most important day. And I'm depending on you. I made it a personal request to him. You can call it emotional blackmail. Emotionally blackmailed Dana Bhai. And said, it's a question of my izzat that you have to get so many people. Poor Dana Bhai, he went all over Kutch. He turned into his car and drove to villages 4 hours away and, went and convinced everybody and said that, it's our honor at stake and we have to come and, all that.
In order to get as many shots as possible with a mammoth crowd of 10,000 in a single day, I asked for 4 additional cameras.
One day before, we had come to the location in which we had just done a dry rehearsal. In which all the cameramen, the director, the actors had all come there, rehearsed exactly what shots we are doing. So that in executing the shots, cast and crew knows exactly what's happening and are very quick in what they are doing. So the crowd time is used as much as possible.
A day before D-Day, the set resembled a camp at war. Meetings were being held all over the place, and charts were being displayed and explained for every member of the unit.
This is the shot we're hoping to get as they actually are settling down.
They'll be in charge of 1,500 people. Those 1,500 people,
In terms of costumes, none of you all will have it. Please wear a dhoti and chaniya choli. You'll have to run towards the center of the picture.
on the night before of the 10,000 crowd day,
It rained.
I couldn't sleep.
Oh.
I was apprehensive. I was wondering how it's going to go.
The entire
That
cast
sound.
and crew had to arrive on location before the crowd came in. So all of us reached at 4 o'clock, got ready, and were just waiting for the crowds to arrive.
10,000
But
background
the crowds
actors.
come.
That doesn't happen
That
often.
was my biggest anxiety.
Lord of the Rings,
I
maybe.
stood outside the wardrobe department handing out dhotis and kurtas to the pant shirt brigade. As my pile of dhotis diminished, I realized that 10,000 people are going to turn up.
Unbelievable.
Did they pay all these people?
I was just thinking,
Or they just want to be part of the film?
my suspicion is this is all volunteer.
The crowd started landing from 5 o'clock. They were all told to come in the traditional outfit, but a lot of them did not go by that. A lot of them came dressed very slazzily. Thinking that we had a shoot, so they should be in printed shirts.
Oh no!
2,000 costumes. We anticipated that a lot of youngsters would be in jeans and printed shirts, so we would have to make them change. So that had to be done. Watches had to be removed. Chappals had to be removed. Chashme had to be removed.
That's hilarious. How much food is that? I would love for them to go over like
So
Right.
the entire
the
exercise,
food.
breakfast, getting them ready, getting them to the location, which was far away. I think it was like 10 o'clock by the time they actually reached location.
Holy cow.
And we could start shooting at 10 or 10:30.
Holy cow.
This is
It was a
unbelievable.
setback for us because we were hoping to start shooting at 7 in the morning, the moment we get light. So 3 hours were knocked off straight over there. Lost 3 hours of shooting time.
Oh,
But that was the 10,000 people. I mean, if you want to get 10,000, it takes time to get them ready. It takes time to feed them. It takes time
Yes.
to get them in order and arrange them around. And once you arrange them, you realize that they are a mob. You have to control that mob.
Holy cow.
Since we had a 5 camera setup, every inch of the ground was being
5
seen
camera
by
setup.
one or the
Holy
other
shit.
camera.
Everybody on that day was dressed in a villager's outfit. All production, all.
In case
all
they were in
boys.
shot.
Even
Yeah.
Nicole, who was a white Canadian lady.
What?
By 10 o'clock, the horses and the cattle, the camels and the buggies, and even the elephant, lovely Lakshmi, were ready and in their positions. But the cricket shoot had yet to start. The crowd was increasingly restless and even rowdy. I was desperate.
my word.
I felt as if the mammoth effort in mobilizing the crowd would be frittered away by the delay. Then, Aamir walked in.
शुक्रिया दोस्तों बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जो आप लोग यहाँ आए आज हमारी शूटिंग के लिए कोई भी सीन पर्दे पर अच्छा लगने के लिए क्राउड का रिएक्शन बहुत अहम बहुत जरूरी होता है जितना अच्छा आपका काम होगा उतना अच्छा हमारा सीन हमारा क्लाइमैक्स आएगा और ये आप सबकी मदद से ही हो सकता है इसलिए आज आप सबकी मदद चाहिए हमें
What a mammoth.
Finally, we rolled. All cameras started rolling. We got the responses that we had planned from the audience. Some by way of the sheer excitement of them attending a match. Some by Aamir's star power in fact, once he sang Aati Kya Khandala. And for that, the crowd responded and clapped and everything. And we have used that in the climax as if they're reacting to a match. So by hook or by crook, we did everything that we could.
Amazing.
Because I knew one thing, that I was not going to get a second chance.
No.
I was not going to get another attempt to get this huge mammoth crowd.
And thankfully the skies cooperated.
Yeah.
Trucks
And the
packed
wind.
10,000 lunch packets
Trucks
rolled
packed-
in on the dot of time at 1:30. Our hungry army could now be fed.
10,000 lunch packets.
But the distribution of the food packets
Yeah. How can you be sure everybody just took what they were supposed to? And that's a lot of people to feed.
arranging lunch for 10,000 is no easy
Just that's the
matter.
6. They do it every day.
Yeah.
The Golden
There was
Temple.
so much of maneuvering between all the departments. It almost gave me the feeling like as if we were on a battle. We were positioning battalions and platoons
Sure.
according to what was required to wage a war.
फिल्म के अंदर ये विलन टीम का रोल कर रहे हैं, लेकिन असलियत में ये हमारे दोस्त हैं। अब हम फिल्म का आखिरी शॉट लेने जा रहे हैं, जो बहुत ही जरूरी शॉट है हमारे लिए। जब एक्शन कहेंगे, आप सब दौड़ के पिच पर आएंगे, जिस तरह ये लोग दिखा रहे हैं, और बीच में आके नाचेंगे, लेकिन ध्यान रहे किसी को चोट ना लगे। Action!
That's dangerous.
वो मेरे लाइफ में सबसे अच्छा दिन था कि मैं मेरे रेज्यूमे में अब मैं मेरे यूनियन अमेरिका जाके वो पॉलिसी दिखाने वाला हूँ कि मैंने 10,000 जनों को एक साथ एक दिन में मोटिवेट किया काम करने के लिए, और जैसा किया वैसा हुआ। मैं नहीं मान सकता था कि ऐसा हो सकता है, सीरियसली।
Yeah, I'll remember that for a long time. The huge crowds. It's quite humbling in a way. It's quite humbling to just think, yeah, I've come this far. My journey has brought me to here.
I think we have to admit that we are not good at doing that kind of work. We're just not good. I mean, we were as organized as we can be, but we're still not there at all. Partly our crowds are unruly, partly we don't do it often enough to get the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
It was not a big day for me.
I think the day, in my opinion, was a 50-50 success. I think that the production team had managed to provide the creative team with this wonderful opportunity in this, of this huge crowd, which the creative team, though it tried its level best, was able to use not as well as they could have or should have.
And at the end of the day, when the sun set, out of exhaustion, I just collapsed. I was extremely happy that we managed to pull it off. There was a sense of celebration among everyone, as if it's the end of the schedule.
Now he's thinking about what he has to do tomorrow.
I'm absolutely thrilled. We've climbed Everest. Only the descent remains. lies ahead is a 3-week schedule to shoot the entire cricket climax, for which only 2,000 to 3,000 villagers are required daily.
After the 10,000 day
Only.
shoot, Ash and I sat down for 2 days with no shooting, in which we just went through and thrashed the climax out. I was insisting that it may take us 1 week, but we must finish all our paperwork before we get down to switching the camera on. Because unless we are totally clear what we want to do, we will be in a mess.
Since the cricket match was spread over 3 days, I had about 400 shots per day, amounting to about 1,200.
Good night.
Now, to get a hang of the 1,200 shots, I had to divide the entire cricket field into zones. And by doing that, I had to decide how many shots I had to take looking in a particular angle.
For that, you have to be very clear in continuity.
Yeah.
It meant charts, charts, and charts.
Despite all this, until we actually began shooting the match, we didn't realize what we were getting into.
According to the script, Arjun comes into bat and immediately hits 2 boundaries. And action. Cut it.
Oh no. Oh man.
मैं इस फिल्म में इंडियन टीम में चंपानेर 11 में आई एम द बेस्ट बैट्समैन.
But in real life,
और मुझे ABC तक पता नहीं.
oh man. Wow. They're finding that out on the day?
Actor, can you do this? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Sanjay, जाके बोल यार एक बॉल तो कनेक्ट करेगा.
There's no way you're going to strike the ball. In fact, I suggested to Ash, I said, look, don't even waste time bowling to him. You have to shoot him in close, and he has to just pretend he's hitting the ball. I mean, there's no other way you can get him to do it.
The final shot. The magic of editing.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I had cast actors who were not cricketers, which added a lot to my attention because at first when I did their casting, I wanted them to be not so cricket literate. Now the same reason bounced back at me.
Yep. Yeah.
Takes after takes in which a particular actor would take probably 20 takes to hit the ball right, or maybe an actor would take about 20 takes to bowl properly or field properly.
It's one of the reasons why some people would tell you don't make a sports movie.
Yep. I think he said that in the beginning.
Yeah, the believability factor is just very difficult to accomplish.
Somebody quiet the dog,
British
please.
actors I had selected on the basis of their cricketing ability.
Dude, they were clearly better.
Except for the batsman from whom I required the maximum. Captain Russell.
Oh.
I mean, I was aware of cricket. I mean, I watched cricket and stuff, but I hadn't played it since I was at school. Really, it had been a while. So to look like the star batsman that Captain Russell is said to be was an ordeal, and I think not so much. Well, it was for me, but I think more so for those people surrounding.
That's hilarious.
cricket shoot is slipping behind schedule.
Not a
Including the
surprise.
Production stint, I've completed 6 months in Bhuj, and it now looks like I'm going to be stuck here. Too many of the actors don't have a clue about cricket. Initially, I found their founders hilarious.
Now I'm getting pissed. Yeah.
But I haven't lost hope. The British team is full of cricketers, and Aamir is quite good. So maybe their shots will go smoothly.
Probably not.
Let's see.
To leave from where we were staying at 5:30 in the morning under starlight and the moon, to arrive here as the sun is coming up, incredible kind of sunrise, amazing light. Go and have some breakfast, which is food I have never kind of had before for breakfast before in my life, an Indian breakfast.
What was it?
Walk around the corner, in the middle of a desert, be staring at an English cricket pavilion and a cricket pitch. It's just extraordinary, it's bizarre.
You could thank your ancestors for that, pal.
To make a cricket match and a film work, you've got to have lots of high drama. It's a picture as well, so you've got to paint a picture that looks interesting.
Yep.
And you can't act that, you actually have to play it.
Yes!
And sometimes when you're acting, you sense that something has gone very well because there's a different energy takes over. And it's not
You start
acting
flying.
anymore, it's become very, very real.
Yeah.
In Bhuvan's first over, when Bhuvan delivers the ball and Bhura feels it, the actor Ben Neelan, he was supposed to run out of the crease and then feel the danger of Bhura hitting the stubs and run back in crease. While doing that, he's supposed to fall. Now, when he fell, he dislocated his shoulder. And all of us were jubilant about having got the cricketer out, which we are supposed to. So we are all celebrating.
He's really crying in pain.
I noticed that he's on ground for, a bit much. I thought he's, Ben is really giving a good shot.
Wow, great shot, Ben.
Because I was so committed to getting the bat in, that's why it caught, because I was pushing really hard. So it just crumpled and came out the back there. Everybody was jumping up and down, screaming and shouting. So me going, ah!
He looks like he's angry.
I could hear it. They thought I was acting.
Instead of the Indian kind of like villages being at the foot of the British soldier like that, the image was of a British soldier in complete disarray, mud everywhere, screaming on the ground, and all the crowd that we had, they went mad. All the actors went mad. I was going mad because I was in so much pain. But at the same time, the actor brain is going, we haven't cut, you've got to get up and move out, because otherwise the shot, they won't be able to use the shot.
Right.
Yet they follow him. Oof.
And they went cut, and I went, ah! Threw the bat away, collapsed on the floor, and I went into deep shot, and I went white, and my lips went blue, and I started wanting to throw up and shaking, and yeah.
And that's the shot they kept.
It's kind of an interesting fact about Lord of the Rings and Viggo Mortensen.
Must be March.
What was it?
It's his birthday. It's Aamir Khan's birthday.
How do you know? Same birthday?
Very close.
Get that out of my face!
Ready? Roll sound, please.
Bhuvan gets hit on the ear by Yardley's bowling. The person throwing the ball at me had to aim at a moving target. The ball kept missing me or hitting me in other places. Or if it hit me right, the camera didn't catch it properly or it didn't register properly. Various problems. Almost everybody in the unit had a shy at me, which I'm sure they enjoyed. Chucking the ball at my face.
got a swollen ear on the next.
I bet. That's the keeper.
It takes a million takes to get a cricket shot right, and it makes no difference whether the actor plays cricket well or doesn't. We've exhausted the 3 weeks allocated to shoot cricket, but half the required shots
Oh
are
my
yet
word.
to be filmed.
Amir Khan's wife is going to be pissed.
And I have no idea when I'll return.
Are you kidding me?
Morale out here is low, and to keep their spirits going, people are doing the strangest things.
Y'all will run from here. Y'all will run all the way from here inside to the corridor. You change from this wardrobe into the wardrobe that we need for filming you, and then run back to this spot. The person reaching first on this spot is the winner. Sure, that's it. 1, 2, 3, start!
Rena, where's my shoes? Trousers.
The buttons have to be properly done up.
This is why actors have no problem being naked in front of other people. We are so used to changing our clothes in front of everybody.
It's true.
There's many times I've started taking off my clothes around people and they're like, Rick, oh, sorry. Like I'll change clothes for an audition, but just do it in the parking lot. Just. You ever seen a man in his underwear? Not a big deal.
Cricket match was incredibly tough. Primarily because one is not shooting a real match between two teams wherein the players play a game while cameras are just rolling. In this case, cricket is a scene being played to a script wherein it had to look as if it was not scripted.
Yep.
It's very difficult to tell a bowler, okay, look, in this ball I want you to bowl short pitched and it should be like this, and therefore the batsman should be able to hit it here so that that fielder can field it, and in the meantime should run 2 runs and then the ball should be thrown back. You know, how do you orchestrate this?
Very, very difficult. Here comes the wind. Oh.
Not only was it tough for the creative team to execute what was written, it was also tough on the actors because it was physically demanding of them to be out there in the heat. It had started to get hot, and a lot of us were barefoot in the match, so the ground got really hot, and it was very difficult to be in that heat, you know, barefoot.
धूप और हम सबके रंग, ये तो अभी मैं गेटअप में हूँ, वरना ये जो मूछ की जगह है वहाँ पूरा सफेद हो चुका है, एक सफेद मूछ परमानेंट बन चुकी है ऊपर जाएगी।
धूप में खड़ा रखा है, बहुत गर्मी अंदर अंदर घुस गई है, धूल भी अंदर घुसी है।
लंबा लगता था यार ये कभी खत्म हो, कब घर जाए।
ये सर्दियों में भी शूटिंग कर सकते थे, लाके यहाँ पटक दिया उन्होंने। वो तो छाया में बैठे रहते, हमें धूप में दौड़ाते रहते।
Shooting the cricket sequence was quite hard going for everybody. You know? I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere, it's hot. You've got 11 English guys standing around going,
bloody hell. Yeah.
Water, punny. Hard work for everybody. So that was a test of character, I think, for everybody.
Protect the whitey skin. It's gonna get red real fast.
Many of the British actors kept falling sick, They would need saline injections. They would get diarrhea, lose motions.
I can imagine.
So as a doctor, I'd get called, and I ended up doing double duty on set.
I'm sure they have it now, but on sets here, there's always a medical person.
Yeah,
always.
They're sitting in that home pavilion in the dust, drool blowing in their eyes, and dust going here, dust going there, no cold water, no nothing.
तेल में लिपटी चिपचिप काया, हरदम धूल धूप का साया, बंद बोलती कर दी भाया, अब खेलो न हंसो न बोलो, खड़े धूप में दे दो प्राण, नहीं तो लगे लगान। पहले माँ के लाल थे, अब हम श्याम लाल से हो गए, पहले रंग था धुली दाल, अब माँ की दाल से हो गए, देख के शीशा निकले प्राण, अरे भैया कैसी लगान।
So, it really turned out to be something that we knew was going to be tough, but it turned out to be 10, 20 times tougher than we expected it to be.
Oh, you're gorgeous.
And that really threw us off guard.
There were times when we all just felt, okay, shit, this is not going to get over. The cricket match is not going to get over. It just goes on and on.
Right.
The shots don't seem to be getting completed. The list that Ashu has made is, getting reduced very slowly. While it's getting reduced, Ashu is thinking of new shots, and the list is getting longer ultimately.
It doesn't end. It's the same location. We've been sitting there under the hot sun, and it's not getting over. And
people losing their cool,
Yeah.
people losing, their spirit to a certain extent, getting tired physically, wondering how long this is going to go on.
Yeah. Probably strain at
It was
home.
pretty scary
You
at that
said you'd
point
be
in
done
time
at a
because
certain time.
first time, you've organized the shoot and everything has gone on well in terms of infrastructure and everybody's there and the whole thing will happen. But the schedule is going haywire.
Rina is taking off on one end. Okay, what is this? The list that is given is so many shots. Has now gone to so many shots. What's happening? What is happening? Does anyone know what's happening?
For me, it was like we're going off budget, we're going off schedule. I don't know what you guys are up to.
So again, me having to maintain the balance between Rina on one side and Ash on the other, and trying to keep spirits high. The budget went from an ambitious 12 crores when we began pre-production to 14. It reached 16 just before the shoot began.
Oh my.
And then to 18 when we...
What is 16 crores?
And then the last that Rina told me was that it's going to go above 20 or 20.
My word. They went from 12 to 22.
And,
They
the end was
the
not
budget
clear
doubled.
still, so
And we decided to forget it. It's just going to go off schedule. There's no way that we can get it back into schedule.
therefore we would need that extra 1 month of dates from the British actors, from the Indian actors, from the crew, from everybody.
Is it 20 million?
Dear Swati, now it's official. I'm not coming back and we're going to be here forever. I'm really, really sorry.
I can't get
Believe me, we
a
are
correct
better off
number.
than many others.
Somebody let me know.
Guli's wife is having an enormously complicated pregnancy.
Oh no.
Rakul's wife is in hospital
Yeah, see?
with a serious
This
lung
is
infection.
everybody's
Raju,
saying
my son-in-law, has been
you gotta
stabbed.
come home.
Yeah, sorry, I wouldn't be there.
We're all staying.
I'd be with
The
my wife.
atmosphere outside is like, we hate cricket, we hate cricket.
I bet. I bet.
We're not going till the war is won. Makes no sense now.
Yes,
That's why they have the shirts for the folks from Lord of the Rings. I survived Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my wife was having pregnancy complications, I wouldn't be there. I'm sorry. It's not happening. There's things that are more important than
Yeah.
films.
Laka's redemption shot. I wanted him to enter the block in a horizontal way and grab the ball in midair because it means that he's taken a catch. It's extremely difficult and he's put his life at stake while doing it.
Nice.
So on and on we went, and Laka kept falling,
Ow.
injuring himself,
Yeah.
getting hurt.
Yeah. No stunt doubles here.
Gotta have his face in frame.
Great shot.
Beautiful.
Very well done.
And real jubilation, he got the shot.
Sometimes morale is maintained through unorthodox ways. One day, to pep things up a little, I made a plan.
Holy!
I took charge of a water hose and surprised everyone by spraying water all over them. Then I reminded them that it was Holi, Indian festival of color.
It's just wonderful when you get plucked out of your day-to-day existence and thrown into something completely alien. And when you go back to where you've come from, you go back enriched and with a much fuller understanding of who you are and what else is out there.
Yeah, beauty of
I remember
acting.
last time going home and thinking England was so grey and so bleak and colourless and bland.
It is great, for sure. The schedule.
I thought the worst was over, but it isn't.
This is all before
This morning,
editing.
Ashu had a sharp spasm of pain in his back. I rushed him to the doctor, who said he has a slip disc.
Oh my goodness.
Meanwhile, work on set had come to a grinding halt.
Disaster had struck. The doctor said that he has to have bed rest for 1 month.
Oh my.
So if he stopped shooting for a month, we were finished. I mean,
yeah.
But
oh my word. Oh my.
He shot it laying down.
No, shooting will not stop, and I will only shoot. The only change is that I need to be on a bed.
Damn. Wow. Hats off to that guy.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Now, not only was it painful for him to be in that position and direct us in that manner, which is difficult in any case, but traveling there and back was.
Oh, I can.
I mean, the warrior in him really.
I can imagine. I've had back problems. I can only imagine. He must have been in agony every second of the day.
It's been a campaign.
Wow.
A military campaign. Making a film is like a military campaign.
Yeah.
Very much.
You've got your people, your foot soldiers.
We're basically the military,
people
I guess you could
carrying
say.
giving orders, following them. It's not easy to make a film in the middle of a desert.
This is not easy to make a film anywhere.
Logistic of this project has been colossal. And it's about saying, we're going to make it happen.
Well, that level of commitment and dedication by everybody is one of the reasons why the film is as great as it is, because it shows in the final product.
Oh, yeah.
It began with his tenaciousness to fight for it when he first showed it to Aamir, and Aamir said, I don't want to do it.
But heroically,
And he never gave up.
Yep.
This thing was about tenaciousness.
Have diminished. Life's been tough.
Wow.
But it's also been beautiful. The trials we faced have forged a unique team spirit.
Huge way to
Our
bond.
camp at Sehjan and Taz, it's as if our flats have no doors. And when Javed Akhtar and Rahman are in Bhuj to work on a song, the excitement is palpable.
Amir's like a little pitchy. A little pitchy.
तो उसका एक्सपीरियंस बिल्कुल अलग होगा पर चूंकि ये अलग अलग फ्लैट में बटे हैं और ये सारे एक दूसरे की तरफ देखते हैं तो हम लोग बड़े आराम से एक दूसरे के कमरे में घुसे तो क्या कर रहा है कुछ हो रहा है क्या वगैरह वगैरह
Gonna be a lot of tears when this thing finally wraps.
Yeah.
A lot of tears.
You see, the Brits were very upset about one thing, and that was that in the film they are meant to lose the cricket match, and they fancied themselves to be great cricketers, and so I was told that look, we have to have a cricket match, a real cricket match in which the British would play against the Indian team.
We'll be back. England versus India, the real thing, not the film. This is it. This is it.
God
I told you it was based off a true story. Remember when I said that?
And
we lost.
We won.
Oh.
We beat them. It was very nice.
We may lose on the film, but we've got to beat you for real, just so that we know.
Well, yeah, especially if they were casting off their cricket skills.
Unfortunately, the Indian team did not come up to the mark that day. I think we were a stronger team, but in a fair and square match, lost to the British team, which they were thrilled about, and we were also very happy for them that they were at least winning it somewhere.
Finally, the British get a win. Am I right?
We invite the losing team.
A single day of cheering at the real match has left my throat painful and dry. I cannot but admire the villagers of the shoot.
Shoot day
out in the
100.
desert heat, cheering at our beck and call for weeks together.
The most dignified, beautiful people you can get in any part of India. I'm talking, it's the AD department is basically one guy and three girls running around in the crowds. Not once did anyone say anything nasty or suggestive or nothing. You know, we were dragging, I was chasing men all over. And wo bhi dhoop mein, in the desert, we're talking about people sitting in the sun from 8 in the morning, right through till like 12:31. You break for lunch, they eat, they come back, फिर बैठा धूप में शाम तक. People were living there. It's as if they had transported their lives.
वो हमारे लड़के छोटा छोटा है, मेरी भी लड़की एक इधर आती है, मेरा पापा भी आता है, सब इधर आते हैं शूटिंग में.
हम एक बार और बहुत लकी हैं कि हम भुज में कर रहे हैं और भुज के लोग जब हमारे साथ आए हैं ये फैंटास्टिक. सोचते हैं, समझते हैं, गांव वाले हैं, उनको तो पता ही नहीं था आमिर खान क्या नाम है. अभी 6-6 साल की लड़की मेरे को शाम को आके पूछती है, अपू अंकल आज हमारा शॉट रहेगा, हम फ्रेम में हैं.
And for me, it's, you know, there's a connection with these people. I've worked with them every single day. I know them by name. I've been to their village. You know, not so long ago, I had a bad day, and this girl came up and she noticed that I was having a bad day. She came up to me. उसको वो कच्ची जानती है, मैं सिर्फ हिंदी जानती हूँ, और हम कैसे कम्युनिकेट करते हैं मुझे तो अब तक पता नहीं चलता, मगर कुछ तो कम्युनिकेशन है दोनों के बीच में. और वो आई, बैठ गई, और she put her arms around me and she started crying. She started crying. And I didn't know what she was crying about, other than the fact that she was reacting to some sadness I was feeling. But there is a connection there. The bond is really deep.
And Roshan, quiet.
65A by 1 take 1.
And action.
Although a major part of the shoot remains to be completed, the cricket climax is finally over.
I bet that's what it felt like.
Swati, we've triumphed. Like the villagers in LAGAAN, we've triumphed.
That was real triumph they were feeling.
The Brits, the Bombay unit, the Bhuj actors, the villagers. 4 different cultures, but one team that has shared a dream. I can't tell you how proud I am to be a part of this. The atmosphere is so euphoric that it's difficult to remember that we are still a long way off from returning home.
Good Lord. I think they were filming like Lord of the Rings.
The shift of the shooting location from landlocked Bhuj to coastal Mandvi has given relief from the firing line. The heat is off, literally and otherwise. More and more I find my mind reflecting on the grueling experience we've all been through.
This whole experience, it's almost as if all of us were institutionalized. You are in captivity. You are with the same bunch of people for 5 months, day in and day out, and you sort of see the best and the worst in each other.
Invariably, shoots bring together people from varied backgrounds, varied disciplines.
Yep.
And then because it is such concentrated activity, it becomes a virtual melting pot, It's a melting pot of cultures, it's a melting pot of people,
And I think there's as much joy involved as there's pain. I at no moment think that this is just a wonderful process through and through. I think there's this incredible torture.
very, very painful at times. There are huge interpersonal problems that you encounter and deal with and all that kind of thing.
You're caught up in it. And it's a madness that seeps into you. You want more and more of it.
On the Mandvi waterfront today, I met Anderson, a British musicologist building a sailing boat based on a centuries-old design to sail across the Indian Ocean. Why? It's like asking why are people drawn to films? Is there one answer that makes sense?
दुनिया में हर तरह के लोग आप देखते हैं हवाई लाइन में क्यों आते हैं ये अपने आप में वाकई बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग बात है मगर कोई इसका कॉमन जवाब एक पागलपन होगा एक क्योंकि आप तस्वीर में अपने आप को देखते हैं या आप भी कहानी का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं
fantasy to make things which you fantasize about come true in front of your eyes. That's what cinema is all about. And that's why people work on cinema. It's not
That's a garbage hat you're wearing, though.
Because of anything, but when you look at it deep down inside your heart, you're living in Disneyland.
Well said.
What was this place before we came here? Nothing. Barren land. Look what it's right now. Built out of hands because of somebody's vision. And we are shooting film in Kutch when there's a drought in the middle of nowhere with 300 people and we are fantasizing.
Flamingos. Do you have wild flamingos there? I don't think I've ever seen a wild flamingo.
And a story is being written on celluloid.
They're not from here.
Yeah, I have never seen one in the wild.
The strange thing, Swati, is that the persistence of vision is an illusion. And the transience of each frame is very real. And that's what life in cinema seems to be about. Transience and illusions. And I'm not quite sure how one deals with that.
I don't know what happens. You just sort of become used to that idea that you're going to spend time with somebody or some people for a period of time, and then it will go. But you just sort of enjoy it whilst it happens.
You know, every time you take on a new project, you pick up sticks and you shift, and you meet thousands of people.
Who you'll never
Most
see
of
again.
which especially if you're abroad, you'll never see them again.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have a certain mentality to deal with that.
हम सारे लोग जो हैं वो basically
Misfits and gypsies.
हम वो लोग हैं जो 9 से 5 नौकरी नहीं कर सकते.
Yep.
And we're neurotic. I think there's a certain level of neuroses that's in the people who are involved in this business.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Which is what makes it so much fun.
Agreed.
Film is very difficult, I think, as a way of life. I don't know how people do it. I think it's a very, very tough. I think it must ruin a lot of people's personal lives working on film.
It does.
You know, it's not like your relationship.
Famously.
Well, you both know what you expect from each other day and night, week after week, week after week. You know, things change all the time. So as a result, it's hard to find any sort of. It's harder to find any sort of balance.
1, 2, 3, go!
I came away with a boyfriend on very dodgy ground, admittedly, but and I finished it. It's that kind of, it's a distance and a perspective that I mean, that sounded so callous and I can't believe I laughed, but it's true.
Well, it's put an enormous strain on my relationship, with my girlfriend, and I'm not quite sure the outcome on that. So
Being away for that long, remote, no cell phones at this time.
You know, people jog along in situations, in relationships, in jobs, because I can change it later. But when you suddenly just remove yourself from a situation for 4 months, it really alters my perspective, and in a good way. I think it's quite a healthy thing to do, and maybe that's why I am in films.
What outfit is that?
It's a very transient sort of existence. But it's strange how this big unit, this big sort of family thing, gets together, gets so close. You're in each other's pockets almost 24 hours a day.
And then you're done. And then
and it's all terribly lovely
and then you're it's over.
Gossip flying around, there's a scandal here and something might happen there, and all sorts of things are going on. And then I'm leaving the day after tomorrow, and that'll be it.
Yep. It's a beautifully sad existence.
Yep.
Film-wise.
Here's an answer for all the cynics. Films can bring people together also. Jamie and Katkin are getting married in Champaner.
Mm.
Can you believe it? The set has become a temple.
We were all aware that Jamie and Katkin were very much in love and were wanting to get married, and in fact they mentioned to me that after the shoot would be over, they would be traveling around in India, probably go to Pushkar, and they wanted to get married in a temple over there according to the Indian customs. So So I mentioned to them, I said, you know, if you want to get married as per Indian customs, then you can't do it alone. You need the whole barat and you need baratis, and you know, in which case you should stay back and get married in Champaner in our temple over here, and you know, we will organize the marriage for you. And Reena and I, of course, became the parents of the girl.
That's awesome.
Etc.
I wouldn't call myself a Christian, but I am a spiritual person and I believe in God. I don't necessarily believe that there's many gods. I believe that there is one God, whether it be Hindu, Buddhist, whichever religion. We're generally praying to the same source. So it fitted in fine. It was God, whoever he, she, it may be. It was God.
Why does she sound like that? It's a weird mic there. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Me too.
People are coming together. Not just on the set, but outside on the road leading to the set are thousands of pilgrims walking hundreds of miles to the distant shrine of the Muslim saint Haji Pir.
हाजी भी सलाम है इसकी लड़के की सलाम है पैदल जाने 2 दिन 3 दिन जो चलने में हम हिंदू मुस्लिम सब एक समझते हैं
सब गाए तो जा रहे हैं, इसमें क्या बोलना है अभी चलो
Gorgeous.
Strangely and movingly, cinema and life are mirroring each other.
रह पाए निर्बल सुख से भक्ति को शक्ति दो भक्ति को शक्ति दो
Company, move! Once the nights got over, it was a matter of 2 or 3 weeks of day work. But by then, I think all of us knew that, you know, the end is near now. Unbelievable as it may sound, we are actually coming to the end of the shoot now. And so the spirits were not that low. I mean, they were pretty high, I think.
For all of us, it has not been just a film experience, just this picture ke liye, shooting ke liye gaye. It's far, far beyond that. It's been a life experience. It's been something which is going to stay with us for the rest of our lives. And that makes me really happy deep down, because it tells you that it can happen, and that is the important thing. That the buck doesn't stop at dreaming about something, but you can actually make it possible.
Most lasting memory is always of the light and the colour, always. For me, it's like a classic image of the big sun and women in their saris, their bright, bright saris, and their faces, big smiling faces and white as teeth.
was a junoon. Otherwise, I would never survive. Yeah, sleeping only 2 hours for 6 months at a stretch and all that. I mean, everybody was completely geared towards making the film. Their heart, soul, everything was there. And they didn't let up even for a second.
I can't imagine. I can never tolerate being here and seeing the village being destroyed. You know, we've lived here. We've fought here. We've screamed at each other. We've laughed. We've cried.
Yeah,
How one makes
I can't stand.
sense of it.
I can't watch the dismantling of a set that I've worked on.
Yeah,
it's very hard. I can only imagine what this must have been like.
Dear Swati,
did they dismantle the?
there's only one shooting day left to go. I'm just dying to get home, but to be honest, the thought of leaving the village is unbearable. This seems to be a common sentiment. A whole lot of us have spent the last night in Champaner.
They call it a martini.
Technically, that was the last shot of the film. Though, I mean, that was not part of the film, but it was the last shot of the film. Maybe it's part of your film.
Yeah.
Where all of us collected and, ran the camera and...
I just couldn't believe it when it was finally over. It was unbelievable.
Very charged emotional moment where we had achieved what we wanted to, but definitely feeling bad the journey had come to an end, and a feeling of the fact that what was our home for 6 months we would now be leaving and going back to our home.
As memorable as as memorable as the birth of my kids. As memorable as
anything, yeah. Especially for him.
Yeah.
Especially for him.
It's his baby.
Yeah.
It's been as memorable as
existing.
It's the turning point of my life. Sometimes I wonder in fear whether I'll be able to go beyond LAGAAN.
Did they leave it? I assume they left it.
What?
It was like a bolt from the blue, hearing that there was an earthquake in Bhuj, and started frantically making phone calls, realized that the lines are down.
Was this the one in Kaipoche?
Communication. There's no way that we can get through to people in Bhuj.
That was an earthquake, right?
Then the nightmare of not knowing how each of the people were. We were editing the film, so we could see every face in the frame. And it was very traumatic to see the faces on the frame and not know which of them is alive or in what condition, needs help, and we are helpless, we can't do anything. So first of all, we stopped editing because we couldn't take it anymore. You know, actors from all over India or technicians from all over India who were connected with LAGAAN, calling to find out how people in Bhuj were, whether any contact was made. From London, the phone calls started coming in, and I think after 3 or 4 days, the airport opened, and which is when you and Mr. Rao went to Bhuj.
Rao Sahab and I reached Bhuj safely. We've been through the town. It's completely devastated. 2 of the LAGAANites have died beneath the rubble. But the worst casualties are at Sehjan and Tas.
Wow. That's how bad it was damaged.
No.
Unbelievable. I did not expect that.
If somebody had told me, I don't remember hearing about that.
I don't know what to say.
I remember a bad earthquake in the end of Capoche. I don't know if that's the same one, though.
I had promised all of them that when the film is ready, before the film released and before the world saw the film, I would bring it here and show the film to them.
I was feeling very worried because this was the first time I was going back to the city after the devastation because of the earthquake. What would I say to them, to the villagers or to the Bhuj artists, who had lost their property, homes?
We wanted to come back there with a lot of celebration, with a lot of triumph in our mood when we come and show them the film. But here we were coming back to the place after such a major tragedy had occurred. I mean, certainly it was not a time to celebrate. But
I was wrong, because on the day of the screening, all the unit members from Bhuj, from all the villages, landed up for the screening with a smile on their face, which is an extremely emotional reunion.
Is that
They were excited
her?
about seeing the film.
Oh, she
They
got
were
so
almost
big.
They wanted to put the earthquake and the tragedy behind them, and they didn't want to dwell on that today.
परफॉर्मेंस पिक्चर में बहुत ही बढ़िया है।
ये सिर्फ मेरी फिल्म और आशुतोष की फिल्म और पूरी टीम की फिल्म नहीं है, ये हम सब की फिल्म है।
I always felt that LAGAAN was a film which was about triumph of the human spirit. But actually it's the people of Kutch to whom we must attribute this triumph of the human spirit.
Will the script that nearly died find its audience? Will the viewers accept LAGAAN?
Narrator.
Tension,
They did.
fear, terror. It is difficult to even describe the emotions we are going through.
After all the entire journey that we've been through,
and commercially, LAGAAN was a huge success worldwide, sweeping the box office from Mumbai to Morocco and Surat to Switzerland. It won a heap of awards in India and around the world, and was nominated in the Best Foreign Language Film category at the 2002 Oscars. But for us, the LAGAANites, climbing the mountain had been more important than getting to the top. To us, what mattered is that we had set out to make a film, but the film had shaped us. Perhaps forever.
Ugh. What a great documentary.
Wow. Yeah.
What an exceptional, not just for the background footage to see about the making of LAGAAN, but just for posterity's sake to see what goes into making, because while their experiences were specifically unique,
yeah,
they aren't unique in microcosm or even larger space for all filmmaking.
No.
All filmmaking. That was incredible.
It's unique to where it was in India at the time, to being at they're doing sync sound actually, like, and how different that was.
And having, like they said at the early on, having the balls to do a film that had so many factors in it that producers would look at you and say, no.
No.
Don't do a historical epic. Don't do a piece about sports. Don't go filming somewhere off in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a gorgeous documentary.
Yeah.
One, just filmmaking in general. Obviously, we love it.
Yeah.
We've been part of it for a long time, and it's everything in it is just. It was exactly. It felt very Hollywood, honestly. Outside of just being in India, that was the big difference.
Yeah.
But the how it was made
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
was-
from pitch to final press and presentation, everything.
Maybe not the auditions of singing, unless
Right.
musical. of
Right,
course.
right, yeah.
But it was extremely gorgeous, and it was lovely to see. I'm glad it lived up to what everybody's always said about it, because we've heard about it since we watched the movie.
Yeah.
People had been telling us to watch it. I'm like, you want me to watch a 2.5 hour documentary?
Yeah, and if you're a big fan of documentaries of films, the documentary footage, and there was a film made that's behind the scenes stuff that's about 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken, maybe longer, of the Passion of the Christ. That's great. Really, from same thing, from idea to completion and the challenges they faced, most especially the fact that the script was written in a dead language. It's great. But this went beyond my I was expecting it to be good, and it was better than I expected.
Yeah, and it's really a blend of different cultures as well, which was beautiful to see. I didn't know, there's a lot of stuff I had no idea about, one, and how grueling it was, and that earthquake at the end. I did not expect another thing to happen.
That was just, Madness in the Desert is the right title for this.
But the fact that in films, there's always, especially a big production, there's always going to be something every day, all the time. It's rare to non-existent to ever have a shoot that goes perfectly.
No, and it's pretty common to have a shoot go over schedule and over budget.
Especially big ones.
But for it to double, that's nuts.
Yeah, and I'm glad obviously, I'm sure they made their money back.
Yeah,
infinitely.
The gamble paid off.
And it's still regarded as one of the greatest Indian films.
But
of all time.
And that's the thing is, I promise you, everybody involved in that film would have not had a different take on the film or their experience in it if that film had not done well at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
That was immaterial.
Yeah.
For them, it was, we did it. The vision came to pass. We endured this together. We saw it to the finish line.
Yeah.
And then the end result of its acceptance is the gravy that you hope for.
Yeah, and
the quality of it you hope for, that you strove to achieve.
For filmmakers, actors, directors, whatever, it's such a different experience, because like Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Rupert, they can enjoy Harry Potter. They're not like all of us that are just like, I love this series so much, I want to get a tattoo of the Deathly Hallows.
Right.
Like, their experience of it is the amount of people that I got to work with and are now lifelong friends of mine is what really sticks out, and that's really how it is.
Yeah, and that series, along with say the Lord of the Rings, those didn't just go 4 or 5 months. Those things lasted from inception to the end, a decade.
Yeah.
Of commitment.
And it's literally like a college dorm room is really what filmmaking is.
Yeah.
Or like you're going to high school for all these years with all these people, and then it ends.
Yeah.
You're all going your separate way, which is like even like films that aren't regarded as great films that like the Suicide Squad.
Right.
All of them got matching
of course, everybody bonds. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Will Smith, I think Margot Robbie, and whoever was in that terrible film, all got I think matching tattoos because it was such a bonding experience for them. It's because that's what it's like. It's like high school,
and the depth of relationship. I mean, it's hard enough as an adult, but as a kid, it's not funny, but it is. It taught me experiencing a lot of different things that I did that ended. It gave me a very unhealthy sense of things that I love will be taken from me without my control over it. Because so many experiences as a kid where this is my family, and now all of a sudden it's gone. And that happens that's hard enough as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I saw this in a reel on Instagram. One of the most bonding things that can happen to any group of people psychologically is to go through a shared suffering. And all artistry of this nature is a suffering together, and you form bonds that are life-changing and lifelong.
Yeah, I can't imagine back in the day of no cell phones, especially in this is so rural, obviously. I can't imagine like anybody's relationship actually stayed together. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
The fact that they like probably did, I don't know how close the closest phone was at the time. They definitely didn't have, so now we have the benefit, especially here, SAG, the union, we have very specific rules. So like 24-hour shoots do not happen for us.
No.
Thankfully, because you shouldn't be doing that.
It's unhealthy and it's dangerous.
It's unhealthy and dangerous for everybody involved.
Right.
But now we have computers in our hands. If I'm on a set for 2 weeks, I can talk to my wife
every day, face to face,
all the time. I could text her all the time.
Yeah.
I can see my kids whenever I want. Obviously not in person if it's a away shoot, but like you have that technology. They didn't have that.
Nope. There was probably,
it was 1999. They had phones, obviously.
Well, there was probably a place where people could use the phone and it was shared, like a military operation where you've got a few minutes where you could go to the place where you could make your calls, and that's it. Yeah.
But also if their significant others were, like, let's say the British people in Britain, it's almost
big
12
time
hours
change
difference.
Big time change.
A beautiful, beautiful documentary. I enjoyed every second of it.
Me too.
I love watching filmmaking. What happened to I would love to have them to talk about if they tore down because normally, obviously, when stuff happens, they tear down the thing. But it might be either they left it for whoever wanted to come, and you guys can have this, or if it's like almost like a museum.
Yeah,
LAGAAN.
I bet because of the heart of Aamir Khan and the whole team who prioritized everything based on what was right and proper to do as human beings, it wouldn't surprise me if they left that up to everybody in the village as to what they wanted. If they wanted it preserved for posterity's sake, if they wanted it to just become functional, I bet they left it up to them. And I loved throughout, it was very clear, and it's not a surprise because this is all I've ever heard about Aamir Khan, is that his preeminent thought about every single thing in the process is the betterment of the art form and making the film as good as you can and setting ego aside. Example, the guy saying, I was expecting the star to show up in his Mercedes, and he rode on the bus with everybody else. That is an artist who knows how to lead. That's the kind of actor that you want to work with.
I'd be disappointed if he didn't travel on the bus with them.
Of course, he sets the tone. What I'm sure that did for morale and the stories we probably didn't hear, with the way he just was one of the bunch and didn't get preferential treatment because he understands the art form and leadership. It's very clear that Aamir Khan is a True artist.
There's a lot of stories about that where like big stars are on set and they can, like Tom Cruise's, Johnny Depp's, Will Smith's of the world. I've heard about Shah Rukh Khan as well, and just their stardom makes everybody nervous.
Right.
So they do things to try to bring everybody's nerves down around them, so they could, they'll talk to them or play a game or something like that.
Yeah, it's a great story. Just a small story. We've mentioned it before. Is that on the first day of shooting for The Godfather, it was this scene where Michael, played by Al Pacino, is having to move his dad Vito. And it was his first day on set and his first day working with Marlon Brando, who was the GOAT at the time. And he was just too nervous to do the scene. So Coppola told Brando, and Brando took Pacino around the back into an alley to talk to him. Neither one of them have ever shared what they talked about, but when they came out, they were laughing arm in arm. And that's because Brando took the initiative to make sure, I know I'm the guy here and I need to make the kid feel good. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stories like that. But once again, beautiful documentary.
Beautiful.
Glad we got to watch it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The watch along of it, because we did. If there's other documentaries that we should be watching, I think this is our second or third documentary actually total in Indian cinema.
That director just was. He was going to make this film or die.
Yes.
From start to finish.
Yeah.
The disc problem. Ooh. You need bed rest for a month. Cool. Put the monitor here and just cart me around on the bed on set all day.
That guy that broke his back and still did the scene.
Show must go on.
That's insane.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, because no one would fault the man for going. Would be like, oh, that man didn't finish the scene because he has a broken back.
That's
his commitment. Where is it?
That's why this thing is just a beautiful thing to say for posterity's sake, because LAGAAN. The reason LAGAAN is such a great film is not just because the finished product is so good, but the reason the finished product is so good, you just saw. That's why LAGAAN is so good. Let
us know if there's other documentaries that we should be watching. I think this is probably our second or third one, I think, total documentary-wise.
Yeah.
Or what should be our next, obviously, Aamir Khan film? What should be our next watch-along? Obviously, please let us know down below. Once again, if you'd like to see the full uncut version, you can head over to Patreon, pull the description, below the pinned comment. And on to the next documentary!